How would you like to learn how to turn a boring, mediocre LinkedIn profile into a subtle, stealthy sales page that attracts your ideal clients, that showcases your value, and easily sets you apart from thousands of other people who are selling the same thing as you? The good news is I'm going to break down a 4-part copywriting framework to help you write the ultimate profile, get some results, and see some examples in this video today. G'day, I'm Jules Dan. I'm a freelance copywriter with over $10 million in client results. Man, it's good to be rich. Now, unfortunately, it's my clients that are rich. I'm on the way to 10K still, but I've learned so much helping my clients hit that result. Which brings me to my point. I made this channel to help you get more customers, how to make more per customer, and to keep them coming back with the power of a pen. So let me start off by saying that everyone's got their own 2 cents on writing a perfect LinkedIn profile, and this is just me. But let me just say, when most people talk in the third person on a LinkedIn profile, it's kind of creepy, don't you think? Hey man, how's it going? Nice to meet ya. Julian is most excited to meet you. He tends to have a great day and have an awesome conversation with you. Okay, so what do you do for work? After graduating with honors, Julian set out to, hey man, did you talk to that other Jules dude? Yeah, I know, did you speak to him as well? It's kind of weird. He spoke kind of funny. All right, so you get the picture. Who the hell talks like that? And that's the thing with conversion copywriting. The whole thing is that we're trying to have a conversation with someone. We're not trying to impress them or dazzle them or anything like that. So what would talking conversationally and being persuasive at the same time look like on a LinkedIn profile? Well, for starters, you could talk about things that they're interested in. You could show some empathy. You could ask some questions. But then how do you put this all together into a cohesive profile that's easy to follow? So how do you write stuff in your profile that actually captures your prospect's attention and gets them to read more about what you do? All right, so full disclaimer here. Obviously, the key to making a really good LinkedIn profile work is the traffic. You need traffic, which is people coming to view your profile with a really good profile. And this video isn't about showing you how to get lots of views, how to write lots of content. What this video is about is helping people who are just like me, who get maybe a few hundred views per month, and they want to squeeze everything they can out of all they've got to make the most out of their profile. So that way, when people actually do land in your profile and it's just passively sitting there, who knows what kind of opportunities it can create for you down the line. So for me personally, I used to post content on LinkedIn so damn much until I realized my ideal customer is not on LinkedIn, and that's okay. And even though I'm not posting lots of content and driving lots of traffic to the page, having a really good profile, I found, was a super good way for people to check you out, especially before a sales call, to know if you were legit. And I can't tell you how many times people have come onto a sales call feeling like, oh, this guy really knows this stuff. And I want to do the same for you. So stick with me for a couple minutes because I'm going to dive into my computer and show you some examples. But first, the big problem I'm seeing right now with LinkedIn profiles, especially when I first started out and I wanted to understand how do you do this, I'd even look at authority profiles and it would be very robotic. And maybe you've seen this as well. It's like, here's who I help, here's who I serve, here's how you can get more information. And it's just like, whoa, okay. And if you're a coach, you're a consultant, or you sell something that's a bit more high touch and more service, people are more buying you than they are your thing. So this is your opportunity to really connect with them and show off your personal flavor. And then you've got the other side of the spectrum where people are just going so deep into the pain, and you can tell that they've taken like a few different copywriting gurus courses. Copywriting gurus, by the way, that sell a bunch of courses on copy but don't actually keep writing for clients themselves. Makes you wonder if they're actually really good at what they say they do. But anyways, that's for another video. I absolutely love being a little mischievous brat sometimes. Anyway, the other side of the coin is that people go way too deep into the pain. Now, the problem is that while this is all well and good for, say, like a sales page and stuff, on your LinkedIn, it needs to be showcasing your personality. If you're always saying, you need someone who does this, you feel this way, you should be doing this, and the person reading this is like, hang on, why are you telling me how to think and feel? So what do? How do you blend the two of being direct, getting into the pain, and making it presentable so that you're the obvious choice so that they buy you? Well, now I'm going to jump into my computer and we're going to break down this framework. It's called AIDA. AIDA, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. So we're going to go from my profile top to bottom. I'm going to explain exactly how AIDA works and how you can use it for your profile too. So welcome to my computer and my great mic. So we're going to be breaking down the AIDA principle, AIDA, on my profile. And like I said, this is just what's worked for me. This isn't the way to do it. So if you're just getting a few hundred views per month and you want to squeeze everything you can out of all you've got, this is how you do it. There's going to be nothing fancy. I'm just going to break it down step by step. And normally when I write my scripts,
I normally have them, so there's going to be a few jump cuts, but I would like to keep this as organic as possible. All right, so the first thing you're going to see here is we're going to break down AIDA first in the headline. And the headline is arguably the most important part of the LinkedIn profile, because this is what people first see. This is their 3-second judgment. And not only that, when you leave comments on LinkedIn, you're going to see that little first line of who you are and what you do. Now, typically, I used to think by just having, say, email copywriter or like direct response copywriter was a bad thing. Apparently, just for SEO purposes, this is just what I've heard and found, is that if you keep what you do in the first thing, then that makes sense. But that's on a tangent. Let's go break into it. The first thing I want to break down is attention. Now, the worst way you could do attention is email copywriter. So what's a good way to hook attention? Well, the best way I found is to use a result. Now, you can't always use financial results. Like, I totally get that. But what you can do is tie in a specific benefit and how you help people. And let's get into that. But just to clarify, the first thing you want to try and do is grab people's attention. And if you can use a result by number of clients you've helped or ROI generated, time saved, all that good thing, definitely include that in your initial first hook. Now, the second part of here is the interest. So who would be interested in this? Now, this is where I call out to the target market here. It's coaches and course creators hire me to convert their high ticket leads into 1 to 200K. So the interest is that it's them and I'm giving them a direct benefit. That's the interest. Say that, okay, we've got their attention, they're interested. How do we get them feeling like they want it? This is where you make it very specific and you tell them in quantifiable timeline when they're going to get it. And then action, ask me how. So attention, here's the hook. Interest, we've got the next part. Coaches and consultants hire me to do this. The desire is in the time frame. And then the action is ask me how. And can you see just a subtle difference that I've done with coaches and consultants hire me to convert instead of I help people do this? It's just a very subtle word change that I've picked up from some other really good LinkedIn writers, and it just sets you apart. It's like it's assumed that you're hired, not just like, hey, I want your business. Does that make sense? And if you've got cool street cred like me, then you can include something like that too. And by the way, if you're on this YouTube channel and you don't know my podcast, check out my podcast, Storytelling Secrets. All right, all this other fancy crap here, if you don't have a creators account, you don't have to. I've just done it because I used to post lots of content on LinkedIn. So just to recap here, one of the best ways you can break down the headline is, I've got this written down, problem I solve plus tangible result plus in time period. Now let's get to the other part of the LinkedIn profile, and this is the featured section. So this is where we can showcase our proof. Obviously, you want to try and use content, testimonials, case studies as best you can, because this is when people land your profile and see if you're legit. So what I've just found is that I've used a different mixture of media. This is just what's worked best for me. I've got an image, I've got a video that goes to a case study breakdown. I've got some content here with lots of social proof and likes, another example of that, and then to tie it up some more social proof. And what I do is, I'll show you in just a second, I tie in the social proof into my actual profile so that people feel like there's no disconnect, and then you can back up your claims as well. That's a big thing missing from lots of LinkedIn profiles. I'll say I've helped so many people, I've done this, they've referred to some they referred to some client they've helped. It's much easier if you have that in the featured section here. Now, before we get to the about section, because that is arguably the most important, one thing I'll say is don't do the lazy thing like I did and leave these unoptimized. So this is your experience and what you do, and why not make this super sexy? And we can use AIDA in the same way as we do in everything else. So straight away, AIDA, okay, in my experience, this is what I do: email copywriter, marketing strategist, owner. Book more high-ticket sales appointments into your calendar. That's the interest. If you run paid ads, run regular webinars, or have a bunch of people opting into your list every week, and you don't have an optimized back-end email marketing system to convert those leads into sales 24/7, so that's the interest. My guess is that you're either too busy or too overwhelmed to even start with email marketing strategy. The good news is I'm here to help. So my 3-step copywriting process is responsible for, it's a bit more now, 1.34 million sale results. I have to update this for my clients since I started in March 2020. Okay, so we've got attention, then we've got interest. Okay, so I'm interested in what your process looks like. This is how I build the desire. There's 3 steps to doing it, and I make this very benefit driven. This is so key. It's not like first we get on a call, then I write the copy, then I hand it in to you. So it's always thinking about like what's in it for the other person. I do a 9-minute clarity call with you. This is where we get clear on your story, the psychology you offer, psychology of customers, and the offer. Frankly, this is called where the magic happens. This is how I become a chameleon and perfectly match the voice in your copy. One of the biggest complaints that I've heard from prospects is that I've hired someone else and they just didn't match my voice. So I made sure to include that as a benefit in the first part. So this is how you build that desire. Second part, I extract emotional stories from your best customer and use them in the copy. This is how we sell in your emails without sounding pushy. Another objection I'm solving and building desire here. And then backing up my claims. This you're going to find this in the about section. We'll get to that in a second. We've done the desire. What's the action? I want more proof. I encourage you to check out this case study. So that is just a bit of a breakdown of leveraging AIDA in your experience level and pretty much like making it like a sales page. I've just found this to be very effective. And if you're a podcaster like me, don't feel afraid to showcase who's been on your show. You just don't know who that one person might resonate with when they read your profile. So I've just listed some of the top people that have come on my show, what I talk about, subtly keyword stuff in here. I don't know if this actually works, but someone told me that I might want to try that. And then I obviously have not done what I used to do. Hey, I used to be a personal trainer. Did you know that? And yeah, I went to university. Don't really care about that. Endorsements. Don't really care about that. Recommendations. We will get to this in a different video, especially when asking people, because the cool thing is that, did you know I actually wrote this for someone? I wrote this for someone, and I just got them to sign it off. And it was so much easier than just saying, can you start from scratch? But that's for another video. All right, so enough of the build-up. This is the about section, arguably the most important. No, I already said arguably the headline's most important, but you get what I mean. So the about section is where people buy into you and they get a flavor for what you do. Now, I've mentioned before, people go very direct and they're like, this is what I do. This is who I help. What's the next steps? And there's the other people who will just be like, you're someone who needs this and this is going on and then this is causing this. And it's like, oh my gosh, like going so deep into the pain. What I like to do is just make people feel excited and get a feel for what I do. Email copywriter, email list manager, marketing consultant, as again, some just keyword stuffing stuff. So you don't have to do that. All good. But I always like to ask a question at the start. Are you a coach or course creator with an email list that gets opens and clicks but not making any sales? If so, you're in the right place. AIDA. So that's the attention part. Straight away. And if you close clients over the phone and into high ticket programs, stick with me because I'm about to explain how we'll turn your high ticket email leads into 100, 200K over the next 90 days. That's the interest part. Opens a loop, get them thinking, okay, stick with me. I'm going to learn how I'm going to do this. Great. But before I do, rather than me draining on about the pain, how do I get you excited? How do I get you excited about email marketing instead? So that's still going into that interest as well. I'm slightly selling against everyone else who's like just going so deep into the pain. And then I talk about all the good stuff. So this is how I build the desire now. Over the past 2 years, I've helped my clients produce spectacular results. And I go into a little bit of the pain. Most of them, when they came to me, were too busy to write an email. They simply didn't know the strategy to get people to say yes to the coaching programs or courses. And this is a massive problem that's going on with a lot of coaches and consultants, info product owners. It's kind of random, right? So then I back up my claims. Let's look at results. So this is still building that desire. I helped Colin Boyd do his biggest launch, blah, 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 blah. Just explain what we've done. Don't be afraid to show off a bit, but make it very concise. So this one's, I should also mention this. When you're detailing the proof and you're building the desire, see if you can bring up 3 different examples of 3 different projects that you're good at or types of work that you're good at. So for here, this is a launch that I've done for an info product. This is a launch for a high ticket coaching program where it's different from, say, like a done do-it-yourself product. And then this one here is a Facebook ad. 3 totally different copy projects, 3 massive results. So when you're building the desire, think of 3 different ways that could really appeal to your ideal prospect, and then match that proof strategically. I've actually got this is actually growing to 10 mil now, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, enough showing off. This section here, you don't have to include. I just wanted to justify it because I'm still fairly new with copywriting and gotten really good results for clients in a short space of time. And then also just sort of planting seeds that the reason why I did this is because I invested in myself in one of the best copywriters in Australia. So there's that too. You don't have to do that. All right, so this is where I get to the action part. And the action is, the way I transition into it is I say, but now it's time to cut to the chase. This is how I take away sell. So I want to position myself as someone as, look, you don't have to buy from me. Like, I couldn't care. And if you want to get the cheapest option out there, just go ahead and go to Upwork. But if you're looking for quality, if you're looking for someone who's going to write you some of the best thing ever, you don't mind paying a bit extra, booking a time with me. And that's basically what I've done. If you're after the cheapest copy and your only criteria on price is that then I'm not the writer for you. There are many writers on Upwork who would happily take your gig for a couple of grand. So you can use this template yourself. I learned this from my copy mentor, Pete Godfrey. He's a genius. So if you're after the cheapest and then you put in whatever your thing is, then I'm not for you. And then maybe explain where you can find them and then detail what they are. However, if you're a discerning buyer, if you're a blank who demands blank and doesn't mind paying an extra for premium quality blank, work, results, accountability, hand-holding, or you know what I mean, like fill in the blank with that word, then I encourage you to send me a DM or apply for a strategy session with the link below. You can apply for a free strategy call here. Here's the link. And if you want to get to know me first, this is a secondary call to action because people want to see who you are and they want to get a flavor for you. Check out my podcast for nearly 200 episodes where I talk about this, this, and this. So I'm giving people, 1, an option to book a call. But 2, if you publish content, definitely get them to check you out on your content first. Because like I mentioned in a different video, the people who've seen your content, they like your stories, they like you, they feel like they get to know you. It's so much easier to close those people on the phone because they respect you as the authority rather than just some cold lead coming in through your messages being like, how much do you charge? So hopefully we've gone through, just to recap, we've got the headline using attention, interest, desire, action. So this is the most important part. Then we've got the featured section, and this is where you link back proof from your about section here. So as you can see, I've got Rebecca here and I've got Kraken Digital, and I refer back to them in my proof section here. So that's super important. So there's a few different ways you can actually grab attention. I've done it differently in the about section and in the experience section. So I'll just recap over that because this is probably really important. One way you can do it is to ask a question and to slightly touch on the pain. Another way is to just lead with a strong promise. Okay. Then the rest of the basics. Get them excited. Give them a promise. Back it up with proof. Guessing if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, you're probably also on LinkedIn as well. So go ahead and add me. I'm just as Jules Dan here. Pretty simple to follow. You'll find me. You'll see the similar headline. And when you go connect, leave the little note saying that you came from YouTube, because I can't really see who's following me on YouTube, but I can on LinkedIn. It'd be great to have a conversation and connect with you. And who knows, if you slide into my DMs, maybe you can give me some suggestions for some future videos that you'd like to see in the future. But on that topic, if you've really liked what I've spoken about and you're still kind of worrying like, oh, Jules, like you're promising a financial result and that looks really great, but I promise something intangible like confidence, like well-being, that sort of thing. How do I showcase my value so that people don't mind paying premium prices? Good question you asked. Check out my next video here where I show you how to sell intangible results and position you as the Rainmaker.